Hello everybody! So I just finished my Hunger Games video. It was super fun to make and super fun to talk about, so I figured while I'm sitting here talking about a bunch of books, I might as well do my April wrap-up, which is mostly consisting of Hunger Games. If you are interested in watching my Hunger Games reading vlog, I put it up. It's up there. I'll put the link down below. I had a really good time reading all the Hunger Games books. It was definitely a journey. So I want to talk about all the books that I read in April. Obviously, as you can see by the title, it's mostly Hunger Games. But there is like one other book that I read that wasn't Hunger Games. And we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way first. And then all the rest of the books are going to be about the Hunger Games. If you've watched my Hunger Games video, then you know what I'm going to rate all of these books. Nothing's changed. So feel free to skip this video, or you can stay and rewatch me and rehear. But obviously, if you watch my Hunger Games reading vlog, then you know what I rated all the Hunger Games books. But if you're here just because you want to watch me talk for some reason again about them, then hi, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this. Okay. Boots, you have anything to add? No, he does not. So, first and foremost, I finished this certain book. I did not prepare at all for this, obviously. So, the first book that I finished in the tail end of April. Well, not the tail end, actually. In the very beginning of April, I finished The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the first book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And I have been tossing back and forth what the heck I want to rate this book. Because there was a part of it that I feel like was lost on me. And what I mean by that is obviously I'm not going to spoil it for you because, I just don't want to spoil anything if you haven't read this book. But the first one, I will say, I rated 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. This one, I kept going back and forth. And I think sometimes I let other people's ratings kind of influence my ratings. And I need to just stop doing that, But there was a part in here where I was like, okay, I'm probably not even going to rate it a 5-star because it was getting really almost too much with going on with the plot. Like there's some vampire plot going on, and I was like, what is going on, right? So I was like, okay, but then let me just tell you, the end picked up like crazy, and I just was so impressed by that boosted it up to a 5 stars for me. I think about the way this book ended all the time, and I think that in itself is worth it to read this book. And if you didn't like the first book and you don't want to read this one, I'm telling you, like, the ending was so cool. It was so cool. In a way, the author tricked us. And I thought that was so cool. And in a way, it felt like a video game. And I was so impressed. It was so funny and it's so cool. And this is going to be in a reading vlog at some point. So you'll see my reaction to the ending for this. It's gonna come out eventually. I don't know when because I'm slow. But yeah, this was a 5. This was a 5. So far, the first 2 books are 5 stars for me. And so good. So good. Because sometimes it takes me a while to realize a book is a 5 stars. So I don't know if on my Goodreads it's a 5 star. I need to double check. If you want to follow me on Goodreads or add me as a friend on Goodreads, I'm not sure how it works. All of my links are down below. I have an Instagram. I have a TikTok. I had a Fable. Well, I have a Fable, but I don't use it anymore. Just because everyone's on Goodreads, okay? And I can't keep up with 2 things because that's difficult. So now, what we're all here for, or what you might be here for, I'm not entirely sure. The Hunger Games. Here we go with the ratings and reviews. So if you've never read the Hunger Games series is now 4 books. The original trilogy following Katniss and Peeta are the first 3 books, which is The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. And then the last 2 are novellas following different characters in the books, which is really interesting and really fun. So if you have not read The Hunger Games, this book was really popular back in the 2000s. I was in high school, okay? I'm old. So everyone was reading this. I didn't, because at that point I wasn't really super interested in reading dystopian books like this. I was more so like The Summer I Turned Pretty or The Selection kind of girl. So I never read this. So I decided to pick it up, especially because Sunrise on the Reaping came out, and I was like, okay, I need to read this series and see what everyone's talking about. So again, The Hunger Games follows a girl named Katniss, and she lives in a place called District 12, and there's a lot of districts. There's like District 2, District 3, District whatever. For some reason, the way this world works, they have this thing called the Hunger Games, where two people, a boy and a girl from each district, compete in this deadly game for entertainment for the people, which sounds crazy. And whoever wins gets money, gets a nice place to live, and it's kind of like a big deal if you win, because it's one person against obviously a bunch of people, and you have to kill people to win, which is kind of insane. And so this follows, obviously, like I said, Katniss. You learn in the very beginning, very quickly, she volunteers as tribute because her little sister Prim gets drawn out, and she decides to volunteer, which doesn't normally happen. So then at that point, you're following Katniss, and then obviously you're following Katniss throughout these 3 books. So I really enjoyed this series, this little trilogy, the 5 books even. I enjoyed them. I thought they were super, super fun. I gave the first one a 4-star. It was definitely one of my favorite ones in this series. I just didn't feel like it was a 5-star. I think, like, I don't know, the plot was really good. I really liked the story. I really liked the world, the dystopian vibe, the trials. It was really interesting, okay? But this series isn't something that I would just rate 5 stars because it's just not my favorite series, and that's fine. I don't have to rate something 5 stars, Yeah, it was still really enjoyable. I definitely recommend the series, especially since, the last book of the series came out and a new movie's coming out. I definitely think that if you're interested in dystopian worlds and fighting and trials, I think you'll really, really like this series. So to be really quick and brief with it, I gave the first book a 4-star. And I gave the second book a 3.75. The only thing about this one that didn't give it a 4 for me was the beginning. The beginning was kind of boring, right? But I loved meeting more characters. I loved Finnick. And then lastly, I gave Mockingjay a 3. And the reason why it's so much lower compared to the other ones is because I feel like this one just had so much politics to the point where it was just kind of losing me. And I feel like I'm not the I want to say I feel like I'm not the smartest reader, which I'm not trying to insult myself. I'm just being straight up, trying to be straight up telling the truth. That was a weird way to say it. I'm just trying to be like real, okay? I feel like there was just things that I didn't understand. And if I read this in high school, I definitely would not have understood anything that was going on. I'm 28, so I don't know. Some of these things were kind of lost on me, but I will say I had a trip in between reading this, and I definitely had moments where I put this down for a long time. This book took me a long time to finish, and that could have been a big part of it, honestly, where things were getting lost on me. But in this one, obviously, there was a lot going on with the politics. There wasn't any trials in this one. Just a lot about like the rebellion and things like that. And obviously Katniss is still confused on which guy she wants to be with, and that was kind of infuriating. But I gave this one a 3 just because it was harder for me to follow, I guess. And this one is the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You can end at the trilogy if you want. Mockingjay is technically the last one in the trilogy. This one is following President Snow, and he is like the evil guy in the first 3 books, right? So this is kind of his origin story in a way, and kind of following him. This was my least favorite. Okay, this one was slow. This one was just written differently, and I just didn't love it. I really didn't. And it's not because it was Snow. It's just because it just felt so much different from the other ones. I feel like if this was written in a dual POV with Snow and Lucy, I think it would have been a lot more interesting. And yeah, so I gave this a 2.5. It just wasn't my favorite, but I think the movie will be really good though. And lastly, this is my favorite one, and I think this is probably everyone's favorite one right now, and I gave this one a 4.5. This one is following Haymitch. You meet him in the first book. He is Peeta and Katniss's mentor and kind of helps them with the games. This is his games. This is when he was part of it and his journey through it, and just, it was devastating, and it made me cry. It made me cry. It really made me love Haymitch so much more. And this book was such a breath of fresh air compared to Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This book was so reminiscent to the first one. The writing was so similar. The pacing was good. The characters were great. I loved learning about all these characters that were mentioned in the first and second books. It was great. It was a really fun read. And it's just so interesting how books can make you look at just different foods, for example, so much differently, like grape juice and freaking milk and and even geese. So every time I see a goose, I think of Lenora Dove, and then I want to cry. It was great. I really loved it, and I absolutely cannot wait for the movie to come out. Like, I'm so excited. And honestly, that's it. That's all I read. Okay, that is all I read, and I'm so sorry this video is so short, but I think that's okay. And I guess, since this video is so short, I'm gonna kind of talk about Bookmas in July really quickly. If you didn't know, I'm doing Bookmas in July. Basically, I'm going to be uploading every day from July 1st to July 12th, and just know that this might make wrap-ups and TBRs kind of different. I don't really know how I'm gonna go about it, because a lot of the books that I'm going to be reading in June are probably going to be videos that are in July, so I might end up doing a June and July wrap up at some point. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to figure out something, because June is going to be my prep month in a way. May is my prep month too. So I don't know what I'm going to do when it comes to the wrap up of June and July and even May. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I just wanted to let you guys know that things might be a little weird, but I'm still gonna regularly upload in May. I'm gonna try, but June might be a little scarce because obviously we're getting 12 videos in July, which I'm really excited to get all those put together. I'm still kind of prepping for it, so we'll see what happens. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I appreciate you coming back and listening to the wrap up, even if you watched my Hunger Games video. Really appreciate you guys. And like I said, I have all my links down below if you want to follow me on Instagram or Goodreads, and Boots is everywhere. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!